China is now responding to Justin Trudeau's condemnation yesterday of a Chinese court sentence of death for a Canadian man. Robert Schellenberg was sentenced yesterday to death for smuggling drugs, and that has aggravated an already tense relationship. Let's go to Ottawa, where Janice McGregor is tracking the very latest developments and this tit-for-tat back and forth between Canada and China. Janice, it was strongly from China this morning and the Foreign Ministry.
Yeah, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has, to be frank, has had a lot of harsh words for Canada ever since the arrest of Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou in Vancouver last month. But this already fraught relationship just seems to be ratcheting downward. Of course, as you said, yesterday we had the retrial of the Canadian who was convicted of drug smuggling, and his death sentence yesterday prompted Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to express his concern about the arbitrariness of that death sentence, the implication being that perhaps there were some politics caught up in the way that the legal system was handling this Canadian. Overnight, the Chinese have reacted to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's comments. I think we have a board here with a translation of some of the things the foreign ministry person said. They're expressing strong dissatisfaction, saying his remarks lack the most basic awareness and urging Canada to respect the rule of law, respect China's legal sovereignty, correct its mistakes, and stop making irresponsible remarks. And now we have dueling travel advisories in the mix as well. Canada, late yesterday, changed its travel advice, urging Canadians who are going to China to exercise a high degree of caution due to the risk of arbitrary enforcement of local laws. And now today, in return, we have China warning about travel in Canada, saying on its official social media channel that its citizens should fully evaluate risks and exercise caution, citing the arbitrary detention of that original Huawei executive. Although I feel we have to point out here that she is actually out on bail right now, awaiting her extradition hearing to the U.S. She is at her home in Vancouver. And while we have both sides accusing each other of being arbitrary, really the facts of the case are quite different here.
So in terms of diplomatic relations, there you are in Ottawa. What are the risks for this country from this ongoing escalating tension?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've discussed at length Canada's desire to have more trade with China, to see that as an economic growth vehicle. 2018 was, it seems ironic now, a year of official tourism between the two countries, okay? And something to watch going forward here now that we've had these travel advisories come out on both sides is the extent to which they have an impact on the movement of people, students and tourists between the two countries. Now, it might seem that if we are going to have more arbitrary arrests, detentions, harassment, frankly, of Canadians in China, it may be natural for the Canadian government to issue some kind of warning, in fact, perhaps sensible. But on the other side, there's a real risk here for Canada because having a lot of middle-class Chinese tourists come here, having a lot of foreign students at some of Canada's educational institutions really is something that relies on official government sanction in China. And if that sanction is withheld, Canada may not see as many Chinese here spending their money. So something to watch in the months ahead. It's too soon to see any impact yet, but if this drags on and keeps ratcheting upwards, there may be real consequences for Canada.
Thank you, Janice.